We are 90.3 KEXP and KEXP.org worldwide. And I can't think of a band I would rather have up here than the one right now. They're one of my all-time favorites. Love Battery live here at KEXP. KEXP Love Battery live here on the morning show from the Dayglow album. And the Dayglow album going to be performed in its entirety, beginning to end, right?
A to B, A to Z.
Chronological order.
Yeah.
Was there an order at the time? Like you were very specific about the order when you put it together? Do you remember?
I'm sure we thought about it a lot.
We had the opportunity to argue about it a lot. Yeah.
We complained about it just recently in rehearsal, actually.
My follow-up was going to be, did you overthink it?
I probably overthought everything.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah.
It was an early time for CDs, so we were still kind of thinking in, how do you sequence the EP? There's got to be a great song, number 5 for side 2.
Actually, it was, my first experience in digital editing, and that's why we did those little kind of jazz intros for like Cool School and
the
Blonde.
Foot, the little clip where they took Foot and took the ending and put it on the beginning. I was seeing the standing waves on the little Mac 2 SE going, wow, this is amazing.
That was the first time.
And then we invented penicillin. It was awesome. We saved billions.
Yeah, I remember that. It was in that order, I believe. So Love Battery here. So thank you. All right, we got another song from Love Battery if you're ready.
Ready. Drive point home, creeps into your eyes and then it gets into your bones. Never stop believing, been cut so many times you can't
KEXP, Love Battery Live here on the morning show. It is so good to see you again, friends. And on that song, by the way, I've never asked, but are those real people? Those people?
They are real people,
Are they real
as a matter
people?
of fact. They're probably out there in the audience this evening, right? This evening. That's right. I keep thinking it's evening. Yeah, John. By the way, I don't know if you're going to take this the wrong way.
Sure.
But this is the
No.
time of the year when I'm glad that I don't know anything about you. Because 9 months out of the year, I have to drive my kids to school in the morning. I
see.
hear you every morning,
Right.
and you're part of our lives, and we love you, we love you, we love you. But I love waking up and hearing Cheryl Waters on the radio.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like, oh, Cheryl, it's Cheryl.
You get 3 months off of
Yes,
me. That is so glorious. I love hearing that.
I
Thank
think
you
it's
so
just
much,
Kevin's
Kevin.
a little confused because it's dark outside and there's sparkling lights, but that's actually the room.
Yes, it's actually working to my advantage right now.
Oh, good. For those listening too, Ron, would you like to introduce everybody in the band?
Sure. On drums, we have the illustrious Jason Finn, the Pope of
yeah.
Pike Street.
That's right.
right.
Former
The
retired.
former Pope.
Currently retired.
Yeah, he's
Retired
That's
Pope of
okay.
Pike Street. Who's the
Pied
new
Piper
Pope?
of Pike Street.
Is there a new Pope?
No,
If there is, we're too old.
same as the old Pope. Same
And
as the
then
old Pope.
On bass, we have Jim Tillman, who is actually our original bass player on the Dayglow album, formerly of the U-Men and Icky Joey before he joined us. And on guitar, Kevin Whitworth. And Kevin and I have been like playing in the same bands forever now. I think, 35 years or something.
Rob, when did you meet? When did you and Kevin meet?
Well, I met Kevin through Jason.
Yeah.
And
Pope of Pike Street. Yeah.
Jason was my roommate at the time, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, Kevin and I were introduced by Daniel House, who later
Right.
founded CZ Records. But
Actually,
I don't know.
Daniel dropped Jason off on my doorstep. Literally.
That sounds
we
right.
returned from Europe and said, "Here, take this guy in."
Jason, it's so good to see you on the drums. And I'm not just saying this because you're in this room with me, but you're one of my favorite drummers. You're just a pleasure to watch, and I'm in here a lot, so I see a lot of bands. But it's great to see you again.
It's very kind of you, John.
Yes.
I got the weird left-handed, right-handed thing, which is kind of off-putting, and that might be what you're
It's not
interpreting as
off-putting,
pleasure.
No.
I don't know.
I've watched you drum many, many years, and I've always been a fan because you're off-putting.
Yeah, that's right. That's
I'm disgusted.
Back on your heels.
I'm
Yeah,
disgusted by it.
I appreciate it, man. That's a great thing to say.
Strangely
And
attracted at the
I'm
same
going
time.
to exactly. There's a lot of tension right now. All of a sudden, yeah.
Tell us about the show on Saturday. I have attended the Stag Annual Summer Party out at Slim's Last Chance, and this is a really, really great lineup coming up on Saturday. So you guys want to talk about it? Who's playing? What you guys are doing?
Are we supposed to know about? No. Okay, yeah.
Black
Stag
Tones.
I've been to my share of stag parties as well. So Stag is Ben London's band with Steve Mack for a bunch of guys. Pete Nordstrom. So I think it's always been at Slim's
It is?
Last Chance Saloon, right?
Yes.
So
I've been there every time.
yes, as have I.
There's usually a car show out in the parking lot.
There are 5 bands tonight, including my my ex-president bandmate Andrew McKeag,
Yep.
doing what we're calling he's calling the Andrew McKeag Band, which I don't know how it took him 40 plus years to come up with that name.
Wow.
That's what it should have been the whole time, including the president.
Yes. Well, also let's not forget the Black Tones, which is
Yes.
my new favorite band. Actually, I got to meet those guys the other day, and
They're also doing the Sub Pop.
Black Tones are
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yep,
The
they are.
first. They're doing a show at the Mural, right? I think
They
they're
are.
doing
They
it.
are later this year. And Eva, the woman in the band, who's so amazing. She's my 5-year-old's drum teacher too. Turns
Fantastic.
out. That's a good drum teacher.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing.
Okay.
So
So the thing with Ben and the Stag show, Ben was talking about, he came to talk to me and have some lunch, and he was saying, the way I book the show is I just decide who I want to hear. It's like, what would I like to hear today? It's like, hey, I want to hear Love Battery playing
and with
Dayglow
us,
that
yeah,
lineup. And
he
it's like-
picked the album too.
So he
Oh,
kind of, he engineered the whole thing. I
Yep.
think he approached me first.
He's washing our cars right now outside. So he's very hands-on with the whole thing. But no, he does. It has been programmed as just a a larger gathering of friends, really, and that's how it's always felt to me. And I don't know. We're just glad to be part of it, I guess.
well, it's good timing too, because the next 10 days or so are just some of the best shows and bands and people who've been in the city for years, between the Sub Pop anniversary show and the Pearl Jam shows, and your history with Sub Pop. You got quite a history with Sub Pop too, and you were part of the Count Up many times on our. We're up to like
yes.
1,200 or something.
Wow.
What are your early memories of Sub Pop?
Well, I actually used to work with Bruce Pavitt at Muzak, and I took over Bruce's job in the tape returns when he left. But I remember him orchestrating like Sub Pop 100 and a bunch of other stuff before he hooked up with John and they moved into the terminal building. So I actually remember once giving him a ride to a printer's and he picked up a stamp with the Sub Pop logo because he needed it for his letterheads.
Yeah.
Wow, that was the stamp.
Those were the days.
First, yeah. Yeah, and they were really, really great to us. We did, I guess, 3 records with them. But, back then they had all these, they would buy Econoline vans and just basically give them to us for free to
For
to
3
tour
months
in.
at a time.
Yeah. You had to wait your turn. Catbutt was probably using it that week, but then you were going to get it. But, they were just extraordinarily, they helped us out. Plus, back then, you could slap Sub Pop on your poster and tour Europe just kind of, just really almost because of that.
An
But it
amazing
certainly
brand.
helped a lot. Yeah.
An
So it got
amazing
us-
brand. Those guys
Yeah.
were geniuses in the marketing
Yes.
department. The whole singles club and everything.
Going
It's
out
just
of business.
incredible.
Since, the whole-
Yeah, going out of business.
Yeah, and they continue to be. I don't know if you've been out in that gathering space, but it's just gorgeous what they did out there.
But there's always a little bit of truth to what they say.
Yes, they were going out of business.
Actually, what's funny? The month we signed for Sub Pop, the Rocket cover was Sub Plop. Yeah. And because I think that was the first time they were going out of business.
Right.
So
that was disconcerting as you signed.
well, we knew we wanted
really.
to
I mean,
put
what do
out
we expect?
records, so we were pretty happy, even with the ominous overtones.
For
The
you young people,
graduation
The
from-
Rocket was a paper magazine that would come out once.
What's a magazine again?
It's made out of paper, and it has words.
The graduation from having to
that are
record
just
your
the
own
size that
stuff.
they are. And
Is
you
that kind of
can't
some
resize them.
artisanal thing?
Yeah.
The printed word, so to speak.
Love Batteries here on the morning show. Again, they're playing the Day Glow album, and again, one of my all-time favorite records out of the Northwest, no doubt about it. So it's great to hear songs from it. You have another one. Which one are you playing
This
next?
is called "See Your Mind."
Do you have the right guitar on?
I have the right guitar on. And
Ron
actually,
switched
that's-
guitar while he was talking. That was very clever.
Well, I
Well
wasn't
done.
talking. There was a
He's a
big
pro.
gap.
He's a pro.
Kevin filled in. All right. Blows me away when I'm sad to get along like no one else can do, and we'll save our heart, cash it in, tangled and mean, and fake it if it could be. Find the meaning, feeling good to the core. There's a key to open up your mind. I can see your mind. I can see your mind.
KEXP, where the music matters. Love Battery live here on the morning show. A bunch of songs from Dayglow. They'll be performing the entire record, start to finish, at Stag's third annual Summer Stag Party. That's taking place at Slim's Last Chance on Saturday. Can't recommend that show enough. And I have to tell the story again because I do this every time I see you.
The Spokane story?
Yes, I have to because I'm so appreciative of that show. It was the second live show I ever saw, and it was you guys with Screaming Trees. And the thing that hit me too, I was trying to think back to that. What struck me so much, I had only gone to one other show, and I was listening to music, and I knew the Screaming Trees album beginning to end, right? And I go there, and this silly band Love Battery is opening up, okay. And I realized at that moment, like, live music isn't just what you've already discovered. You can discover music at shows because your set was just awesome. I mean, everyone went nuts. And I remember going out the next day to 4,000 Holes. Shout out to Bob.
Nice.
Spokane, Washington.
Deep cut.
Yeah, still open, doing well.
Good for him.
Go visit Bob if you get a chance. Tell him I sent you. And bought this tape. And listened to it beginning to, and just threw my Screaming Trees cassette out the window.
Yeah, of course, because what garbage? Yeah, man, that was really peak Screaming Trees live back then too, with Pickerel on drums, twirling his sticks behind his back and stuff, and those the Connor brothers just imposing presence.
To this day, it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. And you're right, they were at their peak, and it's everything that's good about live music. I mean, it was nuts. And they just, it was so liberating for all of us over in Spokane to see bands like you guys and the Screaming Trees, I remember. And I think that's the first time I fell off a stage. And
The show we did with them in Yakima, I think it was that same little tour.
Yeah.
There was a riot.
I believe it.
Yeah, and the kids were like pulling out the chairs out of the floor, because they were bolted in, and
We had to run off the stage, and there were more police than I've ever seen anywhere.
Well, it reminds you how powerful live music can be, especially when you're younger. And I remember going out afterwards to 7-Eleven, getting Slurpees, sitting outside, just sweating, just smelling, just awful. And recently, when I took my kids, I took them to a Flaming Lips show, and it was their first big show. We had that same moment where you're just, and you're telling stories about it, and I'm almost envious of their ability to go see live bands for the first time and discover that again. I mean, we're talking about so much great live music in our city in the next 10 days. I'm really happy for even the people who are younger who are going to go to these shows too.
But nobody they're going to see in the next couple of weeks is going to walk around in the crowd in a big bubble.
No.
So that Flaming Lips show will remain very special to your kids.
Yes.
So.
Here's the problem: the bar is so high now, everyone else is going to suck after that. Like, well, where's the giant FU Seattle or F Seattle, and where's the animals on stage, and where's be careful
there
what
we
you
go.
do.
There's the challenge, Pearl Jam. Let's see those Safeco fields. Let's see Ed out in there in a big bubble.
Oh, he'll do it.
Well, see, for me, the bar was so. I mean, I saw Jane's Addiction first, and they were amazing, but he only played for 30 minutes, and then he just couldn't go on. So, for me, I thought, well, live shows are 30 minutes. So simply by playing more than 30 minutes, you guys impressed me.
Now, see, in our age group, I think we would all advocate for the 30-minute rock show.
Absolutely.
But we're going to do more than that on Saturday.
Yes, we are.
Do any of you guys have those early days, like that show that maybe people don't know about? Like a lot, most people don't know about the Met show in Spokane. But do you have a particular band or show you saw that just blew your mind that people don't know? Of anybody?
Yeah. I mean,
Stranglers at the Showbox.
There you go.
That was
So many shows at the Showbox. The first time
By the
Iggy
way,
came
Showbox.
was like totally mind-blowing.
Yeah?
Gang of Four at the Showbox. The Jam at the Showbox.
Violent Femmes at the Metropolis.
Violent
really
Femmes.
going back there. Husker Du from outside the building at the Metropolis.
Husker Du,
I couldn't get in that
amazing.
night.
Jackson 5 at the Coliseum, actually.
I gotta go with James Brown at the Commodore in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I saw James Brown at Bumbershoot. That was back when you could just walk into the shows like there's no big lines and shit.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
They had
run
some Nina Hagen at the
from
show,
one show
at
to
Bumbershoot.
another.
Nina Hagen at Bumbershoot
was
and
that?
at the
George
Showbox.
Clinton Funkadelic at the. You could just walk in.
Yeah.
Didn't cost you
$10 or
$150 a
something,
day.
I think
right?
it was.
Here's the problem with the Showbox shows. If you were to tear it down, there wouldn't be any more. So that's a flaw in the
Slight problem in this development
Right,
issue
and
that
we're
we see
gonna
coming
we're gonna
up.
battle that. I think. Are we not gonna battle that?
Yeah, save the Showbox.
Is it battleable?
It's totally battleable.
It is
Not really,
battleable, and there's power in numbers. And if you're new or old to this city, if you care about its culture, its music, its history, you draw a line somewhere. And this seems to be a pretty good one when you're tearing down history like that in our city for another giant high rise.
Well, you might actually, I would advocate for eminent domain because the city owns the Seattle Center, right? it's run by a department of the city. And there's no reason why, under eminent domain, you can still save certain properties if you can deem them run by the city. So let's
Even smelly
claim
ones.
it for eminent domain, put it under the Seattle Center, and have a little.
I think you're on shaky
hang up.
ground there, actually.
This is
We're going to run that by
a
legal, and then
argument.
that might be edited out of this.
I'm writing it down right now.
I think so.
Next steps, tell your elected officials.
And call a lawyer.
And if you're a lawyer out there, get to work. Again, you can go to #SaveTheShowbox. Okay, Love Battery's here, and they have one more song
Yeah,
for us.
we're going to play the one.
You might have heard it.
This is our first single.
Still one of my favorite riffs ever. Where do you remember when that came to you? When that?
Yeah.
We stole it from REM.
Do you remember who you stole it from? No.
It's funny because I actually wrote that riff on a little keyboard I bought from Tad when I was working at Muzak, and that was the first song I wrote on the keyboard, just like those bass notes.
Mm-hmm.
And but I remember first starting trying to make it sound like a Wipers song or something. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, it was a regular old rock song, but then we were driving around and we heard, okay, here's the admission, that Smith song.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Ron said, wait a minute.
Well, but there was a long tradition of vibrato guitar. Like I was really into I'd Like to Help You, Ann by the Liars. I loved the way that propelled the song.
Right.
And so, yes, the Smiths were a huge influence, especially How Soon Is Now.
Yeah, the guitar
Johnny
just holds
Marr
the
is
song,
like
yeah.
just, God. I saw it on MTV, the MTV Live channel. He was playing some British festival. It was amazing. He did How Soon Is Now.
Yeah.
And watching him do his parts and then another guitarist doing his overdubs was great. It was just brilliant.
His
just
new
amazing.
solo record's great. He's coming in here, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. You're all invited down.
He stays busy, yeah. Hey, John, this camera is panning back and forth across me. Is it doing a retinal scan on me of some sort?
Yeah.
It's harvesting
Yeah, we wanna make sure it's
my
facing
biodata.
Finn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Okay, that's not creepy at all. That's
No, just keep staring at the camera,
I know,
Jason.
it's going back and forth.
I wouldn't turn away from it. It gets very angry.
It probably works better if you take off your glasses, too. Just.
Love Battery been live here at KEXP again Saturday. They're going to be at Slim's Last Chance. They're doing the big Stag party, and Stag will be performing, and the Andrew McKeag band, and I believe Andrew's in that band, and they're playing Dayglow beginning to end. Anything else I'm missing?
Might be a couple extras in there.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, there'll be some extras
There
in
might
there.
be some extras.
You're going to throw okay, good. Because Between the Eyes is a fantastic song. So thank you again, Love Battery. It's always
thank
good
you,
to see
John.
you.
Thanks for having us, John. This is
Ron,
great.
you were one of the first guests I ever had as a DJ on my show.
I remember I called you up. Hey, I'm going to come up there and bug you.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah, and I said, okay, Ron 9, come up and bug me.
Because that's what I used to do, like when all my friends would play at KCMU.
Yeah.
I'd go in there and like basically pick the records for my friends and stuff. Yeah.
Ron came in and just hung out and played records and some stuff you were working on, and you were one of the first people when you interviewed someone at KCMU, you actually had to turn your back to them to hit the buttons. So it's good to face you here.
Yeah,
in our
this
studios.
room is spectacular, John. Well, kudos to you.
Well, it's built on the history of this city, so everyone's responsible who's ever made music in this town, so we appreciate it. And all our donors, thank you all so much for supporting KEXP. So many good sessions coming up. A reminder, Mike McCready up later today to hang out with Kevin, and we are going full Seattle for sure this week. This is KEXP Seattle. All right.
Oh, thank you, John.
Thanks, guys. Made my day.
Well done, John.
Discover new music at listenerpowered KEXP.org.